to show what they're going to go for. But Top Esports seem to have the same sentiment.
Run it back. Run it back.
we said the draft didn't really have any like inherent issues. Like Top Esports definitely could have played out that game better and won. And heck, they're just going to keep going forward with it, Ox.
Yeah, I wonder if they change here, because, you know, if they pick jungle here, it does mean they get a choice on it. Interesting enough, they're going for the Viego again, but this does put quite a bit of pressure, because now if RNG opt to take something like a mid lane pick, well, I guess they already have a mid lane. If they opt to take like a support pick, you can't answer it in that third pick, because you're kind of locked into taking the Xayah third pick. So it means Top Esports draft is very predictable. They don't get too much strength from that third pick, but in the end, they secure that Viego. It's going to be the trade-off for the Lee Sin. Interestingly enough, it looks like we might get the Leona coming out from RNG, and we're just getting pretty much the same. The ordering's slightly different, but nothing much has changed.
Yeah, and looking at, you know, where TS go from here, right? I feel like it's expected that they go towards the AD carry. Jackie Love, I don't feel like had the best performance on the Xayah. A lot of times I think the way he was utilizing his ult could have been done better. But still, that game was very hard. A lot of times him not having his sums up made it incredibly difficult to reposition. So maybe this time around TS could get a bit more done. And looking towards second phase, I think RNG just have so many different mid lane options. If, as TS, you're concerned about the proactive ones, I think Vex and Syndra are the two picks that come to mind that Xiaohu would pick up into Galio. But then he always could lean on something that is more scaling oriented, but still wins lane. The Azir we've already seen. The Orianna was banned out last time. So I feel like Xiaohu should still get the pick of the litter.
Yeah, I will say, though, the Corki ban, I felt like that was a big throwaway in the last draft. That's something they banned in the second rotation for Top Esports. I really don't think we see RNG play that. As much as they put heavy pry on it early in the split, I don't rate it when we're seeing such a more proactive mid-meta. Even the scaling picks, you want to have some agency early, which Corki doesn't. So I feel like banning the Vex out here, actually going for the Sylas as well in this situation. Things that are able to match a bit more easily. And obviously, the Sylas can steal away the ult from the Galio. So, you know, those are the adaptations we've seen so far. Those are the only changes to those mid lane bans coming out from RNG. And now we see them go for the Nautilus here in this situation instead of the set, which I 100% agree with, right? We said earlier how not a fan of Mark's set play.
Yeah, it really did not look confident. Now looking at where RNG goes from here with Vex off the board, again, I feel like if you're leaning into early prio, Syndra really the only thing that stands out. Hasn't played it in playoffs yet, or you're defaulting back to something like the Corki, something like the Azir. I know you were saying you weren't the biggest fan of the Corki. This is a little bit of a throwback, tried and true matchup that's been played over the seasons with how aggressively you could trade with your in that laning phase. You get free scaling, but Knight gonna have his way with the map.
Yeah, I feel like you're just giving such a free pass to Top Esports. And it's kind of like, you set it up at the start of the day where like RNG giving such a massive gold advantage early to Top Esports and then losing on the back of it. I mean, sorry, they still won on the back of it in their previous series, but it's like, you shouldn't be giving them that much of a lead. Them taking the Corki here, I feel like it's just giving Top Esports so much agency to set up the side lanes. Like RNG are really like, okay, we're confident on a mid to late game. This game, they must be really confident because they are taking the hands of the wheel a bit.
Yeah, it really feels like RNG have come in, and as long as they can neutralize early game, like they did in game one, nothing really happening. You know, a little bit on their part of the plays they're making, a little bit on Top Esports, not finding those angles. RNG are going to be solid going into mid game. They can just play off Top Esports mistakes. Top Esports, we need to see Knight be active. You want to see him influence that top lane matchup, especially if Wayward can get ahead on the Irelia. Irelia can just take over. And I feel like the other thing is just going to be finding those angles, finding the flanks where you can 100%. Get on top of key carries this time, because last time they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, it did feel like, again, RNG played very respectfully, and the execution, like you mentioned, from Top Esports, very much not together in the, in the first game. So we'll have to wait and see how it all ends up going. But we're going to send it over to our casters. Munchables and Dagda, please take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, we're back on the Casters desk. We're here for game number game number 2. The draft was almost exactly the same between these two games. Literally one pick different between game 1 and 2.
Yeah, it was kind of insane to see like how much they kind of stuck to the same playstyle. But I agree with the guys on the desk, right? It feels like you're kind of seeing from RNG, hey, we're just going to run this back. We're going to play like super late game, make sure that we're able to like work with this Corki, make sure we're fine. And then on the opposite side, it feels like a lot of that is coming back down to TN to try and make some of these early plays happen. And it is kind of funny to see TN go back towards the Viego again, because there was a really funny quote that came across from the Chinese side where TN said his Lee Sin could beat his Viego, but his Viego could beat his Lee Sin. So now we got to see if he can put it. Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. It gets the Top Esports going.
All right, well, TN very confident coming in here, picking the Viego once more. Top Esports pretty much a salty run back on this one. We'll see if they can make it work for game number 2. 1-0 down, and that's crucial. The fact that RNG have the advantage in this series, because when you look at RNG versus Top Esports over playoffs, 3-1 in 2018 summer for RNG. 3-1 in 2019 summer, 3-2 in 2021 spring, 3-1 in 2022 spring. Every single time RNG beats Top Esports.
But you don't know about the curse. The curse that is 2022 spring playoffs. You win game 1, you lose the series. So who knows what way this is going to go. Does history repeat, or is the curse for real? We'll have to see as we are going to get into the game.
We're talking a lot of superstition here because we're LPL casters, and I feel like you got to just believe in the vibes when you're an LPL caster. But let's talk actual analysis. How are we anticipating these two teams playing out? Because I remember Lyric saying on the desk he wanted Top Esports to play towards Wayward this time around.
And I feel like you've got the tools to try and do it again here, right? The Viego can do quite well here with the Aurelia, try and set up onto the Gnar. And even if you leave Wayward kind of to his own equations, I mean, last game he picked up 2 kills early, managed to get that turret for himself. Like, Wayward is in a really good spot. If we look at the last game, we just have to see if they can enable him more to try and be that big carry.
I want to see Wayward trying to make bigger individual plays during the early stages of the game as well, because I feel like, you know, that's where we've really seen him have his biggest moments, is during the laning phase, finding individual differences. And one thing I will say in favor of Bin here is the fact that he has been way more consistent in playoffs than he was in the regular season. Trading the bottom side, but just going to be a bit of damage back and forth. As I say that, Bin starts bullying Wayward to start this lane off. But yeah, Bin, in the regular season, often dying in the laning phase. Feels like he's cleaned that up a lot for playoffs.
Yeah, he definitely has. And I mean, bullying Wayward, as he said, quite well here. I was kind of half focused on mid lane, though, as this is all going on, because there's some really curious wards going down from Top Esports, because Knight actually like snuck off into this top side jungle to get that ward just as he kind of...
Banana brush?
Yeah, the banana brush there. It's a bit... Like, he actually sat out a lane for quite a while, so it feels like Top Esports at least trying to spot out if Way is going to go for any sort of early plays, or maybe even trying to threaten Bin a little bit about maybe Knight roaming up, but we'll have to see if it actually comes to anything.
So, you know, we talked about TN being confident on both sides of this matchup. Lee Sin and Viego, both his kind of 2 signature picks of recent years. Talk me through how this matchup is actually meant to play out, because I feel like historically, Lee Sin is the aggressive side of the match.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I've seen, right? So I was kind of interested to see what TN meant by that, but I never got a follow-up from him to see what the story was. So, I mean, for this, like, Lee Sin just has more damage early, right? You got the shield, you got good damage, you've got the ability to kind of, like, follow up on the Viego as well. And Viego, like, obviously a melee or the auto-attack-based champion, so you don't really get an awful lot of that off very quickly against Lee Sin. You don't have the burst to level 6, so...
Hang on a second. Maybe Viego's the one being aggressive here, Dagda.
Yeah.
We're going to see a 4-man dive at the bottom side. Gala doesn't get to play today, but a TP from RNG. It's Knight taking damage. He's ignited. He's down for first blood. And Ming wants a little bit more. TN on the wrong side of the play. Has flash available. Remember, no ulti. We're only at level 3. But Xiaohu can jump over the wall here. Wei is moving over towards the rest of this play. TN low on HP. Ming there, trying to be the front line, trying to do the damage. Jackulov here. They're focusing Ming, though. That's not the best target. 3v3 locked in the pit as they have to flash over the wall. Jackulov regrouping with the rest of his team. Anchor, I guess it went wide because there's a solo kill for Bin in the top side. It's pure chaos, Dagda.
What is going on? This has been absolute bedlam in these early stages. Knight dies the tower. They got the kill back onto where you've been. In the counter matchup is winning in the top lane.
And Bin just reminds Wayward who he's up against. Bin's been here before. Remember, Bin has actually been as far in Worlds as he has ever been in LPL. He wants this win today.
I was going to say, Bin hasn't been here before. Bin has never been to an LPL finals, but hit a World Finals. And that's the veterancy that Bin is bringing to this RNG roster. And you can see it there, putting the rookie of the split in his place. But we're just going to get a replay of this top side. And yeah, I mean, Wayward gets the stun, but now you've actually got no stun for when this kind of goes underneath the tower, tries to heal, and Bin predicting the dash 4 beautifully there to actually make sure they can get the damage. And yeah, Wayward just not respecting it.
Yeah, bit of a fumble from Wayward, it has to be said there. Walks into the wallop and gets taken down. So nice advantage in the top side for Bin. And crucially, Wayward had the counter pick. He chose this matchup. And getting killed in the 1v1. It's not a great situation. He's the player we were looking towards to be the carry. He's the guy that we want top esports to be playing towards. They have a totally opposite game plan.
Yeah, and I mean, look, at this stage as well, Wave's in a really bad spot, which is why you can see TN and Knight like trying to push in here, see if they can get pressure off of Knight's push in mid to make sure that Wave can't interact on that top wave and Wayward can crash it in successfully, because now it's kind of damage control on top. No. But this is the matchup we were saying.
A level up for Way as well. TN didn't manage to get the Wolf. TN low on HP, no flash available.
Wait a second.
Oh, the Q goes wide. TN confident in the matchup either way around, a level down, and he almost finds a solo.
I mean, he proves it there, right? His Viego beats his Lee Sin, apparently, and we're getting to see playing beautifully around that Wolf, not allowing Lee Sin to actually get the Sonic Wave, so crucial to the Lee Sin's damage. And such a good job from Tien. All right, I mean, now I get it. Now I get it.
Like this, if there's anything you could say about Tien, it's not that he's unconfident. Like that play, he just stuck around. I thought he was just gonna commit to farming wolves and dying or something the way he was playing it, but just wins the trade, has the sustained damage, dodges the Q. Beautiful stuff. Now Ming could be in trouble as Mark. Posturing. Tien moving over. Weighs half HP right now. Stuck in the back of Dragon Pit. Has flash. He'll just safeguard over to his teammates.
And this is really good from Tien, right? Like getting into the face of Wei, making sure that he's actually able to turn that play around. Now Wei, low health, can't contest onto the bot side scuttle. So Tien again controlling this jungle matchup, even when traditionally we see this as the Lee Sin favorite matchup. So really strong performance from Tien, at least to get this game started.
Tien just going straight into another jungle clear here. Not opting into that Drake that was sort of accidentally started up there. Just going back into clearing up because he knows that this Viego in this matchup, it can power farm.
Yeah, I think as well, like, just trying to clear out his bot side here so he can get the reset, go red, and maybe in about a minute and a half's time, look to see if he can gank that top side, right? Because that's when the wave should be crashing back into Wayward, and if Knight can try and pair his wave with that, maybe that's how top esports can open up this game. But you can see Xiaohu already, like, just trying to see if he can spot out where these camp respawns are, so Bin knows how he needs to play the lane.
Yeah, he certainly does. I mean, Bin feeling very confident in that lane, right? 13 CS leads so far up in that top side for Bin. Wayward struggling so far in this game. But again, a fairly quiet early game. This is what we saw in game number 1 as well. And it feels like for top esports, that's really not the best course of action. For top esports, their success has been aggressive early games.
I still think we will get to see it, especially now that Knight's level 7, access to the ultimate. You can see Tien up here on this top side as actually Wayward's going to reset. So it feels like we're setting up, but it's Mark.
Yeah, the Valkyrie going to be used. The anchor just goes wide, so continue with your setup.
All right, well, we're not actually going to see it. Instead, I was wondering if Tien was going to try and make the play top, but instead, he's going to start up Rift Herald. Push in mid for Xiaohu, though, and Bin has push in top because Wayward has no TP to get back up to top side, so I think he's going to be forced off this if Wei comes up.
Xiaohu's here, Knight alongside him, Wei moving over, and Wayward is a little late to the play, just going past red buff now. So it's a 3v3 for now, but look, the bot laners all starting to move up as well. It's Garlet and Jackie remaining as the supports meet each other in River and give themselves a high five.
Yeah, Wayward's hurting off this play, though. Look at the wave. He just lost the tower that Bin had shoved in, so he's now falling further behind in CS, let alone the kill that already went over to Bin as well. So that call from Tien actually hurting Wayward even more, but now top esports again established control on this top side, so they should be able to get this Rift Herald. It's just a question of, like, what does Wei do on the opposite side? And the answer is Dragon.
I guess the question is it a worthy sacrifice, right? Losing that wave, grabbing a Herald, trading it for a Drake. Is Jackulov? I'll spot this one out. Remember, the Hextech Drake does a lot of damage, so actually Jackulov is enough by himself to threaten Wei and reset that Drake. While the Herald's still going on, Wei able to meet it halfway, stop it going all the way down, so it will be the Drake taken, I believe. Wayward in a 1v1 with Bin here, and he's low on HP once again. Drake taken finally, as Wayward looks at a potential opportunity, just going to clear that wave up.
Yeah, the play from RNG in the bot's like a little risky with no mana on Xiaohu, but he's just going to reset now in a second and be able to pick up the wave after he picks up this wave in mid. So we are seeing a lot of trading back and forth, but again, this isn't the fast pace that we wanted to see, right? Tien, yes, he's getting into the face of Wei and stealing away some of these camps, getting a nice lead for himself, but you're not actually getting kills. Now, though, we'll have to see if they can get Bin.
Wayward going to go for the dive. Knight is here alongside Tien, and the flash comes out. Wayward's low on HP, but not low enough. That's going to be a kill for Knight, and a nice little setup play from top esports. No answer on the map from RNG.
Yeah, Wei was in base, only coming up to the top side to realize that all his camps have been stolen. Rift Herald is in the back pocket of TN if they want to try and get some more go back into Wayward, but gonna hold on to that. So at least Wayward getting some help in this top side, and you're just gonna see it. I mean, pushing mid, Xiaohu not resetting in enough time to kind of be able to help out on this top side because he had no mana. So again, just nice job from Top Esports working off the timings around what RNG were doing.
And just look at the CS numbers in that top lane now. That has completely revisited and rechanged the way that the matchup was working out. Obviously, off of the kill early on, Bin had a big advantage in terms of that CS, but now Wayward has managed to equalize things. Obviously, Bin does still have that kill, so he'll have the gold advantage slightly, but nice little turnaround from Top Esports. Good team play to get their top laner back onto things. And once again, Dagda, you know, we're beyond the 10-minute mark, and we're dead even in gold.
And I mean, look, for RNG, this is kind of where you want to... Oh, Jackie.
Oh, JackeyLove has his ultimate available. Will do it to stop the Zenith Blade. That'll be the play negated, but that's a big cooldown early on.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to be careful as well because you had the Gravitum with the Calibrum shot on JackeyLove, so still could have had that follow-up CC from Gala, but we'll just back away. Wave is gone, so TN can't try and help out, but Wei is answering on top.
And here's Wayward's going to get dived. We've seen this before. In comes dive. Oh, wait, he's too late. What was the damage out from Wade there? Just destroys Wayward under the tower.
Yeah, it's just blink and you miss it. Wayward completely gone. Now Knight's out of position. Gala fishing with Xiaohu, but can't get the Moonlight Vigil.
Certainly can't, so it's just going to be a kill on the top side for RNG. They tried to make plays on both sides of the map there.
This is exactly what the desk was talking about, though, with Xiaohu, like, trying to answer the opposite side of the map to Wei is, but now Top Esports know that they have a advantage on the top half, but won't be able to get onto RNG. But again, this is something that we love to see from Xiaohu, where you'll have the play from Wei top, but Xiaohu will move to the bot side to stop any sort of counter play. Nearly works out for RNG as a two-timer on both sides of the map, but not quite able to make it happen.
For the time being, and it will mean that now RNG, I immediately, as soon as I say, oh, the God's dead even, RNG make a play, find themselves a little bit of a lead there. But I'm looking at the Herald for TN, because we're getting a little bit close to that timing out. Only a quarter left on that timer, and it doesn't feel like Top Esports have had control for the last few minutes for TN to be able to place that down, aside from that one top lane play.
Yeah, I feel like probably taking that play on top side was your best bet because you don't really get pushing mid. You've got full control with Hullbreaker now for Bin and top side as well, so it just becomes incredibly difficult to keep any sort of map or any sort of way pushed into the map to try and use this Herald. So you can even maybe look at bot side here, but it looks like it's just going to end up getting plunked in mid or, you know, having a response here, especially with Wei on the bot side, ready to try and turn this around.
Yeah, it looks like bot lane will be the play, and not too surprising, right? JackeyLove going to be a huge portion of the damage in this composition. And remember, this is a composition Top Esports have locked in twice in a row now, so JackeyLove being the focus, not a massive surprise. Wei is here, though. Let's try and counteract this play. Looks like the plates, at very least, should go down, should be 3. Into JackeyLove's pocket here as Mark moves around for a potential flank. Are they going to go for a dive on this one? It would be risky. It would be a 3v3. Looks like Knight has to move back to the mid lane. He wasn't trying to hover.
Yeah, he was leaning down, but actually just gave a plate over towards Xiaohu. So, I mean, you do get the Herald, you do get some much-needed gold into JackeyLove, but still, you end up with a trade for Xiaohu in that mid lane because Knight had to roam.
And that's a couple of times now we've seen that, right? With the wave lost for Wayward on the Herald play. We're just going to go for the dive anyway. Gala, the target here. There's the feathers to find the route. TN gets himself a kill on that one. And Ming, alone under the tower, alone in the world. Tanking the tower is Mark as he pulls himself out to safety. Golden under the tower. Ming doing a damn good job, but they just kill the tower. Why kill the Leona when you can kill its defenses?
You're going to be stuck there anyway, Ming, so you end up falling with the terror, but there's Wayward roaming down.
Wayward wants a 2v1, but
no.
that ain't a fight that you can win, my friend. Taken down by Wei. It's a 0-3 game for Wayward as his tower crumbles.
And suddenly RNG again fighting back against Top Esports. They lose 2 on bot, they will lose Dragon, but RNG answering back a little bit. You get that turret in the top side, you're getting the plates in mid, you're getting a kill onto Wayward, so you're not getting these astronomical leads for Top Esports. The gold is even, the dragons are even, the towers are even much.
Everything even Stevens except the game scoreline, because RNG have that advantage, and this is how game 1 went as well. I like the engage from Mark. You know, I like the tower dive at the bottom side. I like the play for top esports. It's just the rest of the map fell apart.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? They bring Knight into the equation here as well, but he's really not needed. Like, by the time he shows up, they're already making this play happen. Like, this doesn't affect anything, but it does give the extra numbers advantage in the mid lane for the play onto Wayward. You know that you're going to have this narrow pushing topside, but we're rinse and repeating in bot lane.
Presence of mind there from Way to know that was happening. Oh, Gala, he doesn't have his flash available. Tien jumps straight onto this Aphelios, and he knows he came out more recently. He's got more damage. Ming goes in for the play, but that's suicide, my friend. You cannot protect Gala on that one. The reset is there for Wayward as well, as it's 2 more kills for top esports, and honestly, an uncharacteristic mistake from RNG.
Yeah, Ming trying to see if they could go, hey, look, if I can tank this, then maybe we can get Gal out, maybe we can hold on to the play, but too much damage in the tank from top esports. RNG will trade for the second Rift Tower, but you're starting to see Jackie Love is getting these kills. He's getting a nice CS lead for himself, and this Feathers can hurt and fight.
So can Ming obviously spots the play before it. Gala is just too far forward. I mean, the actual play itself, fairly self-explanatory. It's when Ming comes in, I'm curious what his angle was, whether he thought Gala could escape.
Yeah, I think he was tank the hooks. Well, tank the hook and the stun, but Wayward just managed to get a little bit more onto the back line with his own CC and then is able to follow up. But Gala should never have been in that position regardless. Like, Way is already clearing up towards the top side. You're way overextended with absolutely no vision on the bot lane, so it's an easy setup. And now top trying to see if they can rinse and repeat in this top lane, as Tien showing up with Mark.
I will say, I respect the play from Ming, right? He's a true supporter at heart, flashing in to block the anchor. Like, it was nice to watch. It was well-meaning, but just a little too much. Drake not up for 3 minutes, but we're having a bit of a group around that bottom side for RNG.
Yeah, just trying to see if they can get that turret for themselves, because you imagine that you're going to see Bin back away from this top turret, but top esports actually showing in mid, so Xiaohu's going to be the one that has to try and retreat here.
Oh, Xiaohu, you're in trouble. Has Flash, has Valkyrie. Will back away through the mid lane. Or through the Raptors, sorry. As Mark just Spider-Mans his way back out of that mid lane once again. And I feel like so far, Dagda, this game is all about Tien, right? Where he gets on the map. Tien versus Way. And Tien, he's a player that needs a bit of redemption. He had a really rough year last year. He had a bit of a rough split. In playoffs, he started to look a bit better, but still people very critical of his play. And I feel like it's not just that redemption story there, but the redemption story for last spring as well, where he lost to RNG and was denied MSI.
And he's had a pretty good game here, but the problem is, again, that RNG, have him playing back across the map. And as well, you look at like where this gold is situated in RNG, this is kind of looking like that spring 2021 RNG. Top lane in a really good position, especially with Hullbreaker in the back pocket. Way trying to facilitate these pushes across the map, working and linking up with Xiaohu. Like, it feels like now we're going to see the RNG where they try and play through Bane, try and play through these side lanes and see if they can make things work and just kind of hold on to the later portion of the game, where Xiaohu, already with 2 items complete, gets a third. Same when you look at Gala working up towards that Bloodthirster. Like, there is serious late game threat here on RNG side, and top esports haven't really accelerated this game fast enough.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way at very least, but again, team fighting is good, right? Team fighting can be great for top esports. The big criticism we had of their composition in game number 1 of the series was the fact that they were overforcing. They were trying to be the aggressors when they needed to play around this Galio ulti and allow RNG to jump onto them. Wayward not waiting for that one though, as he goes in onto Bin, forces the flash, and we're starting to see the reason that the Aurelia was picked in the matchup. Tien wants a little more, but won't be able to find it.
Yeah, I think top esports have just been doing a great job of controlling River, and a lot of that is thanks to Mark and Tien, like linking up and working as a unit. It means that Bin has to play defensive in this matchup and giving more control to Wayward, giving him the opportunity to take this top tier 1. But RNG, once they see multiple members of top esports, are again trading across map, getting that bot tier 2. Where again it will be answered by top in the mid. So a lot of this is coming down to the map play, and we're seeing top esports slowly pulling away, but it's just not fast enough.
Yeah, not for the time being, just 1,000 gold lead. And this time around, not stacking those Drakes in the same way. They got the first 2 Drakes, remember, in game number 1. This time, might be able to get that third Drake for themselves as well, but it's a Cloud Soul as well, so not really as valuable.
I mean, I gotta say from top esports, this doesn't feel very Mojo-esque, does it?
No.
Like, very slow, very calculated. This is feeling like an RNG type of game. And Jackie Love taking rocket after rocket from Xiao, who he can't even contest the second dragon.
I mean, at this rate, top esports are looking more like Dr. Evil than Austin Powers, but Wayward trying to change that one up as he goes towards this top lane. He wants to be that international man of mystery, has his stacks, and will get the tier 2.
He wants to be the shark with frickin' laser beams. Well, at least he will laser beam down this turret as well, right? Like, it actually does work out for them here, and top esports, I'm happy to trade a Cloud Dragon for a tier 2.
The real question is, will RNG throw a cupcake? Will it land? That's the big question. 2 Drakes now for RNG. I'm going to move away from Austin Powers references for the rest of the cast, but that is a great film in a terrible, terrible sort of way. 6-4 on the scoreboard as the second Drake picked up, but this time, like, this is the trade that we criticized in game number 1, right? Where Wayward was in the side lane, teleported, brute forced a fight for not much reason. This time around top esports, they go for that tier 2, and I prefer this play.
Yeah, and what we don't see in, Austin Powers is character development, but we're seeing it from top esports, right? Where they actually are coming into this and going, hey,
That's
look, we
not
can trade
true.
sides.
Mini-Me has massive character development.
Okay,
How
fair.
dare
Actually,
you?
yeah, that's fair. Mini-Me aside. But I think for Jackie Love, kind of taking those 2 rockets kind of put top esports out of the equation, right? Which kind of forced them into making this side lane trade. And now, honestly, I think we're starting to see Wayward like equal up a lot of this pressure. He's now matched the 2 items that are coming through for Bin. The matchup can now start to play out a little bit easier for Wayward, and Way has to escape from this bot side jungle or top side jungle.
And this is one thing the top esports always do, right? They love to just muscle into the jungle. They treat enemy buffs like they're drakes. They have the same level of importance in the top esports mind as they're just going to take this entire top quadrant, just robbing Way before his very eyes. You can see a bit of a CS difference in that jungle role between the 2 players as well, thanks to TN. Again, knowing this matchup in and out.
Yeah, he's been super comfortable, and again, I like that he's trying to bully his way through and kind of show that he does have, as you say, that really good understanding of how to actually play against this Lee Sin, and a lot of that has been playing aggressive in through the lane, like using those moments where Knight actually has push in mid to try and get in and evade. And that's kind of been what we've seen, the success for top esports, but the Barons haven't always been successful. Jackie Love, you're on the ward!
I don't know why the Scryer's Orb has just been used there. Because you already had vision of the guy auto-attacking. Here we go. Mark going to try and play front line. Goes for the engagement. Just hits the wall. Has to flash away instead. Mark's completely whiffed it. He's turned golden, but will not escape. It's a freebie for RNG. And they want a little bit more. The feathers go out, but they're not coming back again. TN, the next target, has to ult away. RNG find an opportunity. Every time top esports go for Baron, RNG crush them underfoot.
I don't know why you go for Baron. I don't know why we're seeing LGD, Mark. I don't know what's happening to top esports, Munch. Now it's RNG who can turn towards the Baron. And Wayward, a TP's down to the bot side going, don't worry, guys. I got the tier 2. This is the trade, right?
Yeah. Last time you told me up for TP into the Drake, I will never join the team again. I will be in this side lane, says Wayward. It's going to be the Baron for RNG in 23 minutes, no less. And that's going to even up the gold as well. People always forget the fact that Baron just gives you a bunch of gold on taking it as well. So gold almost even once more.
And for the late game team. The team that, as you can see here, like when things go rough, it's very easy for RNG to turn it around. Knight completely off to the side. Mark goes golden, so Knight can't even use him as an entrance into the fight. And Jackie Love is just getting poked out before he can even get into a position to try and fight. The entire thing falls apart for top esports, but Mark whiffing on that hook.
And I feel like if Jackie Love just survives a split second longer and can pull the feathers, maybe it's something that's turnable. If like 1 or 2 little things go slightly different there, maybe it's turnable. If Knight can get his ult onto Mark before he goes into the stopwatch, maybe it's turnable. But none of these things are happening, right? And the mechanical difference here for RNG, and Mark having a pretty rough series so far, it has to be said.
Yeah, it hasn't looked great. And we were saying, look, for Mark, it felt like maybe this was the top esports home that he needed. But unfortunately, oh my Jesus, sorry, Jackie Love's help bar went. But when Mark kind of gets to a point where he hasn't found quite a home for himself, we're hoping to be top esports, but not looking so hot right now.
I just love how Irish that curse was.
Oh my Jesus. Yeah.
Oh my Jesus. It was beautifully Irish. But yeah, I feel like we're finally seeing the reason that this Corki was picked, right? Corki's come online at this point. The big ones are going to hit like a truck.
Yeah, oh my Jesus, RNG. There you go, folks. You can send that one a clip it or whatever you need to do. But RNG are starting to push in. They don't really have control of sides, though, so you can see top esports trying to see if they can find these flank opportunities. RNG will back away, looking for the dragon in just a couple seconds.
will. Mid-prio first. Mark has to be the one to face check. Gets a hook in. Going for Way here. That's the target that they want, but he has a stopwatch. Oh, and the Gnar from Bin sets it all up. Wayward on the backline, but he just doesn't have
Gala's
the...
gone!
Oh, they take out Gala. He does have the damage. I was totally wrong. Way trying to survive, but he can't. And somehow, Top Esports turn a lost fight into a near ace.
It's Mojo, baby! Top Esports bringing it back. Bin is running for the hills, but there's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. He will fall as Tien moves over towards the dragon. He's full health with Xiaohu trying to see if he can just be a nuisance with the poke, but with how low he is, I don't think Xiaohu can really do anything here.
Yeah, and with Tien having Smite, right, there's no way to truly contest the Drake. It's actually going to be a TP committed. They know Xiaohu's hanging around. They know he's going to try and go for the steal. Knight here, Smite comes down. It's Drake secure.
And this fight from Top Esports was gorgeous. We talked about them wanting to try and get the flank, and you get to see it here, right? They commit everything into this small little choke. Knight has a beautiful flank onto the right-hand side as Wayward is able to get access to Gal in the back. And Gal even flashes forward there to try and finish off Tien, try and finish off Wayward, but it ends up flashing into his death.
And, you know, after game number 1, I was complimenting Gala, said, you know, this guy's willing to be aggressive. He'll flash forward. He'll Gale Force forward. He'll be that Aphelios carry. This time it bites him. Wayward and Tien doing way more damage than I expected them to be fair. Gala was like half HP and then he just vanished before our very eyes. It feels like that was the top lane difference once again. Bin trying to get the big Gnar ultimate, Wayward on the backline, but this time Wayward had the damage to finish Gala.
Yeah, there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance, and there's a very thin line between stupidity and bravery, and unfortunately Gala just having that little bit too far forward, but I mean, you still want to see these plays coming through from him, right? Because these are the things that will separate you. These are the things that will win you a finals, and have won Gala finals in the past, but now it's Top Esports who are benefiting from it.
And once more, we look to the junglers, right? Tien doing a great job, but wait, 5-1-0. But Tien has found Bin in this bottom side. CC chain is there, turns into Mini Gnar, locked up and taken down. And that's a bit of a criminal misplay from Bin on this one, because that gives so much control of the map now to Top Esports.
Oh, they're still looking here.
Why are RNG still here? Min gonna go for the engage, but he just drops. Gravitum across the team, but no follow-up from the rest of it. Dagda, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit confused.
I'm right there with you. Baffled is definitely the word that I'm thinking of right now, because you didn't have control of that jungle. Even if you're looking for poke with Xiaohu, you don't need to face check the brushes, and Top Esports just get more. They should get mid tower here. You got push on bot. RNG are just spread too thin.
And you know, the Corki pick was criticized by Orcs on the desk, and I'm starting to agree with them, because it doesn't feel like Xiaohu can have much influence in this game. Tier 2's taken in the mid lane and the bottom lane. Now gold lead regained for Top Esports. It has been back and forth all game.
I will say, I think Xiaohu has actually had like a good amount of impact in this game, just because when you think of like Jackie Love trying to fight for second dragon poked out of the fight,
True,
like
true.
you're getting this barren fight that was fought, but Tien will manage to escape. But I think the biggest issue is that they're not giving those opportunities for Xiaohu to be enabled on the Corki, right? We're seeing Bin caught out of position, fighting in close corridors where Xiaohu can't really get this poke off early. Gala is being attacked by all sides. It means that you're not really getting RNG to play to what they want to. And again, they're still waiting on these items to come through. We're only at 2 items still for Gala. Would love a third one for himself. And that's where we're kind of seeing the issues for RNG.
Yeah, and you know, I want to talk about the other side of this mid lane matchup as well, because first off, we've not really mentioned it. The franchise players on both of these organizations, like Xiaohu and Knight, both have been with their organizations the longest on their team. Xiaohu since 2015, which is insane to think about. Knight since 2019. But crucially, we criticized the Galio in game number 1. The blind Galio first pick, which I'm still personally not that big of a fan of. But Knight clearly is, and it's working out here in game number 2. He's 3-1-3 on the scoreboard, and it feels like maybe they just needed a game to warm up for this composition to start with.
Well, I still think we're seeing the issues with the blind pick Galio, right? Like, you're not getting control over the mid lane, you're not being able to influence the map early, and like, this was a very slow burner, similar to game number 1, where Top Esports just couldn't really figure out how to get a grip on the early stages. And in theory, RNG had this game, right? You started to see them to get the early Baron, they win that big team fight. Knight can't have that influence with the Galio ult, but then we see the mistakes from RNG slip through, and that's where Knight is able to, again, find the good flank. Wayward popping off in the Aurelia to kill off Gala. So I think that's where you're kind of seeing, hey, look, you know, if you can prey off the mistakes of RNG, top esports can shine. But I don't want to just put this down to like, hey, you know, this is the Galio popping off. It's like, well, this is big mistakes from RNG.
Yeah, and punishment from top esports, right, crucially. But I will say, just as a fan of League of Legends, we've got Xiaohu and Knight here.
I know.
It's Corki versus Galio. Come on, guys. Give me a LeBlanc Ari game. Like, give me a matchup where we can see these guys. I mean, the Vex was amazing for Xiaohu game number 1. I want more of that. Less of the Corki, less of the Galio. I want to see these guys fire on all cylinders. But, to be fair, you know, it's not my job to draft, and I'm not trying to win a championship right now. So it's kind of a fake criticism, right? I'd love to see more of that, but I want them to play the way they think they'll win.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's why RNG have gone with this draft, right? You're seeing a super early game composition coming through on top esports side. Like Xayah, lethality is going to fall off after 3 items. You're looking towards the Galio as well, not going to have that big damage output later. So you're kind of going, hey, well, Aphelios scales wonderfully. We're going to have the same when you look towards this Corki. Strong front line, phenomenal. Nar can cover that. Leona can do that for us as well. And it's all built around these team fights, but you have to set up for those team fights. Make sure you're getting that front to back fight. Instead, what we're seeing is, you know, giving multiple avenues of attack to top esports that has given them the turn, and now Bin gets caught off on the bot side. It just feels like, again, top esports, when we're looking at like them trying to strike revenge against RNG, when they're trying to like come back into this game, it's the carries of TN and Knight, the guys that are looking for that moment, that are actually finding them.
Yeah, the people that are looking for revenge, right? Looking for revenge onto Bin, onto RNG. It's an exciting one, that is for sure. And I feel like for top esports, you know, you're mentioning this formulaic team fight that RNG can bring to the table if they can set up and fire these rockets out. Oh, Nice is going to flash forward, gets a taunt onto Xiaohu. We're out of the replay and straight into battle. Another solo laner caught in the bottom side, and that's a shutdown into Wayward's pocket.
And, I mean, Xiaohu only got his hands back on the keyboard and he has to take them off again. Grey screen for the mid laner of RNG. And this is what I wanted to see, the ability to play side lanes. This is not being what top esports have been able to do at all. Pretty much the entire way through playoffs. And suddenly Knight making his way into bot side, getting the picks, giving space to Wayward, and that's going to gain them the Baron.
Yeah, they're just going to go straight onto this one. We just need to see them not go for a 50-50. Wei is a king of smiting. He's certainly made this happen before, but Knight is straight on top of him. Goes for the combo onto Wei. Big damage on this Lee Sin, and he has to back away on the top side of the fight. Mark in the meantime, buying space. They're trying to burn the Baron here,
Wayward.
but RNG might just look for a fight instead. Wayward on the backside found Gala, has been only just about to turn Mega. Backside of the top side of the play. It's a 2-for-1 trade, and it's a Baron for top esports.
0-3 on Wayward to now slapping RNG in these team fights. That was gorgeous with the flawless duet. Now, top esports have Baron. Now they have more opportunities to play the map, and you've even got the Dragon of 40 seconds, which they're going to very nicely reset for and let themselves take over. Bin, though, is spot on the top side, and pings galore towards the Gnar.
Dagda, we've seen this before. We've seen Bin overextended in the bottom side. We've seen Xiaohu overextended in the bottom side. Knight sprints around the top side of the play. And Bin wouldn't even win the 1v1 with Wayward, and he's not even going to find a 1v1. It's a great ulti, but it's not enough.
No, but top esports are still stuck on this top side of the map. Jackie Love is low, so now with the resets coming through, RNG do a push, and they can look to try and sneak away this Dragon very quickly. They have a ton of damage with the 3 items on the 2 carries.
TP available for Knight if he wants to get there very, very quickly. Also has his ultimate, but looks like top esports are just going to say, you know what? It's a Cloud Drake. We're not that bothered. We're going to play for the top side of the map. You can see Wayward already pushing that wave in, and now the rest of the team pushing through the mid lane.
Yeah, they just want to look for towers. They want to look for control on the map, knowing how valuable that can be against this RNG squad. The ability to try and play off of multiple different lanes in front of the base. And now, RNG backs against the wall. No top laner, and top esports have come a knocking.
One thing I will say, this comp from top esports, not good on the siege. This Baron is necessary, right? Xayah basically the only one that's ever going to be hitting any towers, and even Xayah isn't particularly long-ranged on the base auto attacks, so feels kind of difficult for top esports to just brute force it.
Well, you've lost the Inferno Mangala now, so that'll make things a little bit easier. So Xiaohu kind of the only person you really have to worry about.
You've swapped into red and white though, so if the fight kicks off, I'm not sure if that's better.
Oh, he's not going to be cleared? Okay, let's not go near him. But RNG still fishing here, Wei, trying to see if he can catch people who are off guard, but looks like with the waves slowly backing Jackie.
Solar Flare onto Jackie Love, gets the Featherstorm, flashes behind his support. Mark there, and the Feathers find everyone! 1v1. Knight slams down Xiaohu on the wrong side of the player's bin. Frozen up. Jackie Love also. So does Mark. Bin gets the Gnar ulti. And Gala's here to clean up. Knight turns golden, but he just buys seconds. Gala with another, and Xiaohu, he'll not let Wayward escape. RNG once again find their play.
Wayward couldn't get into the fight. He shows up for the surprise party and turns on the lights and nobody's home. RNG had already taken Top Esports out, and now Wayward trying to see if he can fish for it.
Let's go for Xiaohu, but misses the stun, and that's going to be the end of the play. Great Valkyrie from Xiaohu as well. It's an ace for RNG. Just when you count them out, Royal never give up.
And this is why Royal never give up. We're put as our first seed into finals. The team fights that they've had against Top Esports have been so good, and Jackie Love getting caught out. You can even see there's not the proper follow-up. Jackie Love escapes from the play, the great Featherstorm, but look how separated everyone is. You've RNG here with Gala firing over the free line, but watch Wayward. Not in the fight the entire time. Xiaohu is assassinating the backline. Gala is tearing people apart with the red and white you pointed out, and Top Esports are left in the dust.
And it felt so good at the start, right? It felt like they'd found an opportunity, Top Esports, to have that play, to have that fight. And we talked about the fact that Top Esports want RNG to play into them, but only when it's a 5v5, only when they've got the whole team there.
Now, we got to kind of reset here, because look, there was no objectives up for RNG to take. So, great fight equals the gold, but you don't really get control, right? You're only getting these waves slowly pushed out for Top Esports to ping-pong them back into you. Now they've established vision control once more in this top side jungle on Top Esports side, because they're looking at this Baron in just under 2 minutes time. So you've still got to do this again as RNG, and this time around you can be sure that Top Esports are going to make sure Wayward can join into these fights. He'll have his flash, he'll have the ability to try and get into this equation. Same with Jackie Love, going to have that cleanse available, so it's going to make things even more difficult to try and catch him out.
14-17 on the scoreboard here, and as you say, gold almost dead even. It's 1,000 in favor of Top Esports, but realistically at this point in the game, that kind of gold difference just isn't going to matter. I'm looking at Gala's items though, because 3.5 right now just finishes that Infinity Edge, as I mentioned it as well. 4 items on both AD carries, but 4 items on Aphelios is not equal to 4 items on Xayah, right? Aphelios is going to be hitting way harder than this Xayah is, and honestly, weirdly enough, I feel like Knight is the guy to look at because he's got a full build.
I mean, so does Xiaohu. Xiaohu's gone full build as well. Like, yeah, I mean, Knight, cool. It's really nice going for your classic, like,
Clapio.
Sunday morning... Clapio, yeah, your Sunday morning read of the Magi Soul Stealer, but realistically, Xiaohu is going to hit like a truck now that Void Staff has sealed the deal. So you have major carries on RNG side. Top Esports need to take them out fast.
Ming moving forwards. He's going to be stunned up by Wayward as the rest of the team jumps in. Top Esports
Oh my
want
God.
the fight, but they're gone. They've already fallen. Gala's still completely untouched. This was 3v4, and RNG still managed to win the fight. Flash forward from Gala, but it's not going to find anything. Or Gale Force, sorry, his way. Tries to follow up the gap. Xiaohu finds some rockets, and RNG, they're untouchable in the late game. Top Esports, not even Mojo could save you. Or maybe I'm wrong, because Jackie Love finds an extra pick. At least it's 1 on the board for top, but it's a Baron spawning for RNG.
No mojo here for Top Esports as RNG crack them down. Baron has spawned, and Top Esports try to take that fight in the jungle where you're setting up perfectly for the front to back that RNG want. You don't get a flank for Wayward. Knight has no access to Gala, and he absolutely explodes Top Esports.
This damage from Xiaohu as well is monstrous. When they're grouped up in a choke like that, one big rocket is enough to just wipe everybody off the face of the earth. And remember, RNG got that Drake earlier on. Well, that means this Cloud Drake is now their soul. And, you know, plenty of ultimates here that benefit massively from the Cloud Soul.
I mean, look, Xiaohu's got the Rafflecopter, but it's only RNG that's happy. This replay, you see it here, right? You set up Wayward and Mark here. Like, how do you get access to the backline? Gala and Xiaohu are perfectly positioned here to be safe behind that big front line. You get the CC coming through from the Gnar, and instantly that Infernum Moonlight Vigil destroys Top Esports, and they're instantly running for kills.
Gala trying to finish off Wayward there as well, and I love that even after that play we saw earlier where he flashed forward and got punished for it, still confident, still willing to Gale Force in, still willing to be the aggressor. in so many of these situations. And Gala is the carry for this team. When you look at him statistically across playoffs, he's had 40% of the team's damage. But enough about Gala, because Ming is the man of the hour right now, buying space for his team. JackeyLove has to use the Featherstorm very early in this fight. Top Esports thought they had a pick. They're not going to be able to turn it into anything.
Baron here for them, though. They can start to push in. Gala with the siege. Bin pushing top side. Bin looking for his first championship. And with the potential seal here on game number 2, can Top Esports find what they need to bring this game back, to bring this series back?
I don't think they can, Dagda. Not right now, as RNG body their way into the base, just brute forcing here. That'll be 2 inhibs taken. They don't have a wave for the 3rd one, but they could just look for Nexus Towers instead. I'm not sure they're too worried about dotting every I and crossing every T. Last ditch engage from Top Esports, but Xiaohu uses the package to get himself to safety. Depth charge on cooldown now. Has been in Mega Gnar, tries to find Wayward, but the stun comes back in from Wayward. He uses a stopwatch, but look at the Nexus Towers, slowly burning down. Top Esports gets some damage across. Health bar's low for RNG. Maybe a moment, maybe a chance for Top Esports, but Way on the front line, tanking up happily and brute forcing Top Esports away. RNG, indomitable in the team fights as Way looks for a kick, flash onto the fountain. Top Esports huddled together, trying to stay strong, but RNG just destroy them. 2 games in a row. The late game is too much.
They huddle together for warmth, but it only sets up for RNG to crack open their home. A Nexus gone, game 2 in the bag, and I gotta say, Munch, we're seeing the same story. Game 1, game 2. No early aggression from Top Esports. RNG finding those advantages in the mid to late game, and even if it's messy, even if it isn't clean, you're still not getting Top Esports able to finish out these games with leads.
I will say, though, they've been here before. Top Esports in their round 4 series against V5. They got the reverse sweep. This is not a team that mentally will be counted out, but RNG 2-0. You can see I like one of the teams slightly more than the other one. But you like the other team, so we're not biased casters.
No, I'm not biased. I'm winning. That's the difference.
Oh, I see. But it does feel like RNG, best foot forward, and Top Esports now twice with basically the same draft. You got to change something up, surely, for Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this guy is going to go. I don't know why you're hamstringing Knight. I mean, every single fight, the one fight where we got that big turnaround, Wayward with the great Aurelia flank, but it was also Knight getting that big flank on the Galio. If he has a damage dealer in that situation, that just opens up things so much more. It feels like every single time you're given easy counter pick for Xiaohu, where he picks the Corki here, scales into the mid game, or into the late game. You got the Vex in the last game that you had to ban away from Top Esports. I feel like you're just trying to shove this square block into the round hole, and it's just not working.
Yeah, doesn't feel good right now for Top Esports, but RNG looking great, especially when it comes to that late game. I will say Top Esports, at least in this one, almost won. Right up until they lost, they were winning to Koskara. It looked so good for so long, but then it felt like they got to the base with the Baron, they were like, we can't actually step up to the towers. We can't actually break this base open and win the game. It doesn't feel like... And that's been the story for Top Esports for most of the playoffs, right? They get a big lead, and then they hit a roadblock. They can't quite push it further forward, and that's where RNG's had their number every time. Yeah,
and I think that's why we're seeing these kind of drafts from RNG as well, right? Where it's like, hey, look, we'll take it easy in the early game. Not really too fussed about it, because once we can take these later game fights, once we can kind of match toe-to-toe with these later objectives, we know that Top Esports won't really be able to finish out the game. And you're seeing the major issues where every time we get to 3rd Dragon, 4th Dragon, Barons, it's Top turn these fights around, especially with how close they were in certain situations. But again, Top Esports, we're not finding those early kills. RNG are kind of reading them going, hey, look, we don't want to go near you. As long as we stay even, or even, within 2K gold behind, we're going to be fine.
And I feel like, you talk about the experience deficit, I guess, in that top side between Wayward and Bin. Wayward, this is his first time in the finals, because this is his first split in the LPL. This is the first time he's been eligible to make it to finals after getting Rookie of the Split. But Bin as well hasn't actually won an LPL finals before. He's made it to Worlds finals.
This is his
first time in the finals. Mark in a similar boat as well, where Mark, he's been to Worlds, didn't quite have the same level of success at Worlds that Bin saw, but Mark also not an LPL champion. But the rest of the lobby, there are 7 LPL champions in this lobby. This is a stacked lobby.
Yeah, this is where you go load in and so look, you're like, oh God, I'm not going to have a good time.
I'm
But
turning my nameplates off.
yeah, but for RNG, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, again, they're kind of leaning into that veterancy in certain situations. Bin getting the advantage in the top side. You're seeing Xiao, who perfectly happy to go, yeah, if you want to take Galio, I'm going to be fine in mid.
Yep.
I'm going to carry late. And Gala as well, again, we talked about the confidence from this guy. It came back to bite him a little bit. When we got to those late game fights, it is Gala popping off once more.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Great package in the big turnaround fight as well from Xiao Hu.